Hey everyone, what is the paleo diet? So the paleo diet, although I can't really explain the in-depth history and the beginnings of the diet as much. So what I did a little research. So for what I found out about the paleo diet, I knew that it entailed no dairy, no grains, which means no bread, no rice, no corn, and no beans. There's no beans and no sugar. So no dairy, no grains, no sugar. I'm probably not thinking of a few things right now, but I knew that within the paleo diet, you can only have fruits, vegetables, and meat. That's it. But one thing I learned overall is that you have to do it little by little, which leads me to my next point. How did I get into it? How did I convince myself, living in New York City, to change my diet? So I just remember when all of my coworkers were talking about this paleo diet, I sat there and I told myself, okay, I know I can't do a diet, but I have no time to exercise. And that's the other thing. I made sure I did this diet and I told myself I would exercise, but I never found the time. So I really tried to research certain inspirational things and tried to surround myself with paleo talk. And so what that meant was on all of my social media sites, I made sure to follow a lot of paleo feeds. There were a few paleo Instagrams that I followed. On my Pinterest, I made sure to research a lot of really cool dishes and certain inspiration. So I decided that I wasn't going to limit this diet to just 1 month. So typically if people do the Whole30 or the paleo diet, they limit their diet to 1 month. For me, I decided to keep my diet to 3 to 4 months. I told myself I would do it for the entire summer. So what that meant was, really trying to find a way to find the first month to wean myself off of certain things that I loved to get myself into the paleo mentality. Let me break down my weeks. The first week, I decided I was just going to eliminate dairy. But I just was like, okay, that's easy. Okay, no dairy. Except I love pizza too. But I made sure, no dairy. So I went through that whole week with no dairy. By the second week, I was a part of this group chat. I was a part of this Greek group chat, and people were doing all these sort of cool dieting things, and they were doing it together. And that really helped. So there's a group of 6 or 7 of us that was a part of the D9 group chat, and we decided, okay, we're going to do this fit challenge that eliminated dairy, grains, breads, all the things that I wanted to eliminate in week 2. In week 2, I told myself I wanted to eliminate grains. That meant rice, that meant bread. By the 3rd week of April, I told myself I was going to eliminate beans. So I eliminated beans, and that wasn't too hard. And then by the last week of April, I began my full-blown paleo movement. And I was like, you are going to do this, girl, because as you started to wean things off, you were good. And that's how I jumped into it. I was fully in, which means for the month of May, I was going to be full blown, and I knew, I was like, if I'm going to do this and if it's going to really work, the biggest thing I kept hearing in my head was that it needed to be long term. A diet couldn't just be a limit of a diet. It had to be It literally had to be something that you did for a long time so that your body can adjust. And I was like, I don't want to just do this diet now, lose all the weight, change up my clothes and all of that, and then all of a sudden I gain the weight back. I didn't want to do that, so I made sure that I did it for an extensive amount of time. So in April, I said, I am ending my diet in August. I said, August 1st, my diet will end. And that's it. As I did that, if you understand how the algorithm of social media works, which is basically like the mathematics of social media, just the metrics behind everything behind the scenes of social media that you do not understand, that helps you see certain ads based off of what you've been searching recently. As you submerge yourself into something, if you're searching for something, all of a sudden the advertising around your social media will be geared towards that. That's just how it works. Even though you hate people spying on you, it's probably the best thing for you. And I'm gonna tell you right now, during that diet, that is the best thing that ever happened to me. Because as soon as I started pulling up paleo, search this, paleo that, all over Google, I would get ads on my Instagram that were paleo focused. I would get ads and videos on my Facebook all about health and wellness. I was so educated, and being educated about health and all that is something that probably deserves another video later on, because I said this video is strictly for everyone that keeps asking me these big questions about paleo diet. So but we went to the stores, and I would get root vegetables. So even though in the paleo diet you're not allowed to have potatoes, you are allowed to have sweet potatoes. So you can have sweet potatoes, just in moderation. I would literally research different dishes all over my Pinterest. So I had a Pinterest board devoted to paleo, and I would just post things, because I would just sift through, because I was like, I need to find meals for next week. So I would sift through my Pinterest, and I would find legitimate, tasty looking, recipes to try when I was at home. And one thing that you can have is also plantains. So I was buying plantains. You could fry the plantains however you want, whatever. So I was buying all of those vegetables. So I bought all the vegetables, and then I bought the oil. So that's the other thing, right? So when you are paleo, you can only cook within certain oil. I had to cook in olive oil. I had to cook in coconut oil. I had to, whatever oil I could afford, I got that. But it just couldn't be corn, canola, none of that. Talk about the meal plans now. So in the mornings, I would keep my breakfast raw. And what that meant is I wanted to just do something raw. So just a banana and almonds, nothing else. That's it. And I would drink water. I would drink a ton of water. And then for lunch, I would do something, whatever it is that I cooked. So it would be like a plantain and some grilled chicken or whatever. And then for dinner, I would come home and I would make a sweet potato with a bunch of spinach and a piece of meat, whatever that meat would be. And typically it would be chicken, because we made our chicken in batches in my apartment. So so that's kind of what I would typically do. That's kind of how I started off. As time progressed, I decided, okay, I'll do eggs in the morning. And as I moved from May into June, I started experimenting with using different types of flour, because I really was missing bread. I wanted bread, mainly because when I first transitioned, I just was oh, this is gonna be fine. But then I was like, oh my God, I need something cakey, But I was researching that people made things like coconut flour, sliced bread, coconut pound cake, it was just paleo friendly this, paleo friendly that, a bunch of baked goods that were paleo friendly. So then I submerged myself in that. I was buying all the different flours, like almond flour, coconut flour, tapioca starch, arrowroot starch. I was researching with that as alternatives from flour and cornstarch when you're baking. Now this is the next part that a lot of people are asking me, so I'm gonna go through some of the side effects and what I was feeling, and just a few tips of advice just to end this video, because I didn't want it to be too long. So some of the side effects include, at the beginning of my diet, not when I eliminated dairy, but when I eliminated bread. When I eliminated bread and grains, I had a migraine for 2 days. And if you remember, I said I was a part of this group chat that was doing the same thing, and everyone in that group chat was going through the same thing within that, because they were just doing a 15-day cleanse sort of thing. But I was doing it for long term, and I wanted the support. So we literally we were talking about, oh my gosh, our heads are killing us. Why are we feeling this way? It wasn't that we were hungry, but it was just our heads, just having these crazy migraines. When I researched it, people were kind of talking about having some sort of withdrawal, right? So your system, your body is just used to eating a certain type of food all the time. And then all of a sudden you decide to eliminate it, and your body's like, what, where is the sugar, you know, where is the bread, you know, and your head is just like, you know, you're feeling all of that, and that's what makes your body go through that withdrawal. It's kind of weird, it's like drugs, you know, but honestly, that was the worst of it, because after I got through it for two or 3 days after, my migraines were gone. And I was feeling really good. But overall, that is paleo. So if you have a concern, or if you would like me to talk a little bit more about certain aspects of this diet that you probably didn't understand, just comment or write me, message me, and I will try to create another video. But anyways, oh, the sun is getting so hot. This is the best lighting that I could find. I don't have anything professional or whatever. So this is why I'm giving it to you like this, raw. So watch it, check it out, love it, whatever. See you guys soon.